Your friend in Central Illinois, WHOW.
Top of the morning. Thanks for being with us. I'm your host today, Seth Lawrence. The WHOW Morning Show streams to Facebook and YouTube, brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Pekin Insurance agent in Clinton. My guest in the studio this morning is Rennie Cluver, Executive Director of the Clinton YMCA. Good morning, Rennie.
Good morning.
Snazzy shirt. I like that.
Thank you.
Is that a basketball shirt?
Well, it's not specific. I did get this for basketball season, but obviously I'm wearing it today to support Clinton Maroons.
Solid. Big win Friday.
Yes.
Yeah.
The team needed that. Should be a good motivator for the rest of the season.
That's a signature. That's what you call a signature win, I think. So very good. Good win for them. Now I know Brooks golfs. How's the golf team doing?
Good. That season's winding down. They've got the Clinton Invite today, conference tomorrow. And then that following week, you're getting into regionals.
Are they really already, huh?
Yeah.
Man, oh man. Well, I like the scores that they're putting out. Like, obviously, Brooks is leading the way, but man, it feels like everybody kind of behind him is, they're only 3, 4, 5 strokes back of him, which is those are solid numbers they're putting up. So.
Yeah, they're young. I mean, with just him and Aiden as the seniors on that team, and then there's no juniors, so you got freshmen and sophomores. So it's promising for the future of that team, and even the girls team is doing well. So it's great to see.
Sure. Now, I know that soccer has kicked off. My kids are doing that. And I got to tell you, little kids playing soccer is just the funniest thing. But it's good. It's good, instructive stuff that you're doing with the kids, and they're all having a good time. So how about soccer?
Yes. And I've really enjoyed stepping in and helping with this. When we just hired Linda Akers to be the youth sports director, and I mean, she got hired, and that following week we're starting soccer. And so I knew I just couldn't just throw her into the fire. And so I wanted to be more involved in what we wanted the program to become and to do for the participants and the parents. So I try to look at it as a parent viewpoint. What do I want to see? I want to see in soccer, I want to see my kid kick the ball as many times as possible. So we want to make sure they get a lot of touches, and we want to see them develop the skill level. I mean, it's not just let's show up and throw the ball out and run around and try to kick it, because there would be some kids that may never touch it. But in the drill work that we do prior to the games, I just think it's going to potentially grow the program to the point where maybe someday in high school we have a soccer team.
Now, when it comes to, obviously, you mentioned Melinda Akers coming on as youth sports director. Sports director, I guess. Talk a little bit about that hire. What's she bring to the table?
Melinda is super organized, and that's what we need at that position. And Melinda has a sports background, but I mean, there's not too many people that you could find that says, "Hey, soccer, I know everything about soccer. I can be." And so there's a learning curve there too of what to know. And if you don't know something, find someone that does. And she's doing a great job of taking it all in slowly. Starting this week, she's going to have to take more on it herself, because I can't be there this weekend on Saturday because of Apple and Pork. And so her and Sass will be in control, and Sass coming back and helping has been huge too, because this is not her first rodeo.
Right. Yeah.
And that she's got great experience. The kids love her. And so it's been great for Melinda. I feel very good that she's got a positive start to youth sports because of just, Sass being there and just the help that she's got. I take this a huge compliment to our volunteer coaches in soccer this year. We've got awesome coaches, and that makes the program that much better.
Sure. Now, I know, of course, folks would remember David Torbert held that position for a few years before his unfortunate passing back in 2021. So how about just finally, or I don't want to say finally, but, dedicating a full-time staff person to that position. Talk a little bit about that from the Y perspective.
Well, and I'm glad you brought that up, because when we start looking at that, it came down to David's name came up. This is what David had started. This was his vision of the programming, and not just youth sports, but we've got some big news coming up with adult sports here in the next month or so of what our plan is to provide more adult activity programming and sports, whether it be volleyball, basketball, whatever it is. So that discussion was, we need to get to what David's vision was. Well, how do we do that? And it's been a long time to say that, we just go out and find another David. Those are hard to come by. But we do feel that Melinda is obviously not David, but she's going to bring new things to the table. She's been working at the Y in the fitness area for a while. She understands the Y. She understands the organization and the non-for-profit background of it. And she's going to do great things.
Well, and you kind of went a little bit there where I was going to go next. I mean, folks know Melinda. If you're into the fitness class scene, the land fitness class scene, you probably know Melinda. She's probably led a course of yours, so she knows a lot of adults, and probably a lot of the people that she's leading would like to see more opportunities for adults, whether it's on the sports side, whether it's just on general activities, those types of things. Like, I think she's going to do a good job of, not only engaging the kids and the families, because again, those same people have kids, and her daughter probably knows a lot of those kids. And so I feel like she's connected at a lot of levels within the Y right now.
It's a great fit. And right before I came here this morning, I did give her the heads up that next time we meet, which is the third Monday of every month, I said, you're going to come with me. So we got that to put that on your agenda for next.
What'd she say to that?
She's like, oh boy. Well, I told her the breakdown on how great you do, Seth, and doing the interview, and that there'll be plenty to talk about with you just being new to the program.
Right.
So she was excited. I think so. I'm excited to bring her and see how she does.
Can't wait. I was kind of hoping she'd come out this month, but it's all right. We'll catch up with her next month and just welcome her in and get her introduced to all of this. And, of course, I know there were instances, Rennie, where at several points in time, maybe you couldn't make it out. So you said, hey, David, go out and do this. And, David came in and stepped in just flawlessly. So that's going to be another aspect to, and Melinda's going to know, a lot of things that you're doing. I'm sure you two are going to work very closely. So it should be a lot of fun.
Yep. I'm excited. I mean, it adds, there's a lot more that I'm doing, because in the last few months, 3 or 4 months, I was preparing the soccer schedules, doing the flyers, and now I'm spending time coaching Melinda and just kind of giving her the basics on how to do it. And eventually she'll be able to take it and see what works for her and what she feels it will work better. And it's a much needed addition to our Y. She is going to make the programming what we want it to be.
Yeah. Now, you touched on it a little bit. I was wondering if you could expand more on, you talked about David's vision and where he was taking things. And, you get a couple of years of a hiatus with that, COVID impacts things. Maybe you're not doing as much as you were. How much of what David started were you looking for in your next candidate in that spot to continue on? And how much has that conversation come up with, not only Melinda, but in that interview process and those sorts of things? Speak to that a little more, if you don't mind.
Yeah, I mean, if you go back to what David's vision was right before his passing, I mean, that he was already had started it with the youth programming and COVID was not great for anybody, but it did allow smaller groups when we were able to get back to doing some youth programming with the sports, and very fundamental focus on the fundamentals. When you get into 3rd, 4th, 5th grade, especially, I mean, there's a lot of opportunities for travel sports. And honestly, just from even when I was a kid up to now, I mean, travel sports has just taken off to where it's not even the same definition as what you would think travel is. I mean, anyone can go and start a travel team and can take as many, whatever kids you want. You don't, there's maybe the levels of, now you go to a travel baseball and there's flights, A, B, C, and D flights. Whereas when I think of travel, it's like you're good enough to play travel, then you're an A, right? And so things have changed. It's not necessarily a bad thing. And I think the coaches in those travel sports need to focus on fundamentals, but they typically have kids that may be more developed. So what's the Y, the role in that? What's the Y? How are we going to make the football program better at Clinton High School when we run our flag football program? Well, this year, coming this spring, we've changed the time to do it so that the football coach, Coach Bass, and his assistants and some of the high school football team can be involved in that, so that we can create a program that is going to teach the fundamentals and build on the program that they're trying to put out there in high school. It's all a buy-in. And I'll give you the perfect example. I had a volunteer dad in soccer come up to me last Saturday at the clinic, and just was talking about Brooks. Brooks is a senior in high school, is on the basketball team, baseball, golf. And he goes, hey, I want you to know my son is a first grader, talks about Brooks all the time and wants to know how he's doing in sports, because Brooks helped him in 2 areas on a clinic, 2 drills in a basketball clinic we did back in December of last year. And that night was a home basketball game, and went there, and Brooks was introduced, and this kid was ecstatic because he's like, Dad, I know him. And I go, that's why we do those. We're building the program because your first grade son, one of these days, is going to be in Brooks's shoes, and he's going to have young kids looking after them and watching everything they do.
Yeah. And that's where you get those, when you bring in the high school kids, it gets the next generation of kids excited. And that's exactly perfect example of,
I remember
of how I've had
playing
to do it.
Nerf hoops in my kitchen when I was young. And guess whose names I was calling out? It was the high school players. And the same thing's happening today. And that's how you build a program. I know Coach Bass is building that program in football. So his involvement in our flag football, it's just going to make it better. So going back to David's vision, fundamentals, community support, and support along the spectrum. So it's not just about why sports. We know these kids are going to develop maybe into our future athletes at the high school. And so what's our role? That's what our role is.
Let's get them excited for it. Yeah, definitely. Very good, Rennie. Well, I'll tell you what, let's take a break here, my friend. Come back with some more. How do folks follow along with all things Clinton YMCA?
Follow us on Facebook. That's where we put a lot of information, or go on our website. And we got a great website. You can follow everything that's going on.
Fantastic. We'll come back, talk some more with Rennie Cluver, Executive Director of the Clinton YMCA, on the morning show. More to come next.
WHOW.org.
Let's check the markets now on the RFD Radio Network. I'm Jim Taylor. Corn, beans, and wheat all in the red at this hour. December corn down 5 1/4, 471. March corn down to nickel, 485 1/2. May corn 494 1/4, down 4 3/4. November beans 1322, down 18 1/4. January beans down 17 3/4, 1338. March beans 1348 1/4, down 17 1/4. December wheat 592 1/2, down 11 3/4. March wheat down 11 1/4, 618 1/4. October bean meal 391 even, down 260. October bean oil 62.84, down 54 cents. Livestock market at this hour. September feeders 255.40, down $1.97. October live cattle 186.27, down 65 cents. October lean hogs 82.37, down 75 cents. Energy market. October crude oil up 88 cents, 91.65. Jim Taylor.
Your donations to Love It Once More Thrift Store in Clinton stay local to help local. This is Connie. Donate now and you'll receive a card good for 10% off your next purchase. So bring us a donation and help us help others. Look for us on Facebook, Instagram, or DeWittDailyNews.com.
This is Ryan Utterback with Utterback Real Estate. Selling your house on your own can be overwhelming.
Pricing, phone calls, showings, liability. Did I mention the paperwork and baking all those cookies for open houses?
And that's why you're the other Ryan.
For stress-free selling, click the Utterback Real Estate icon at DeWittDailyNews.com.
It's no secret that employers are having a difficult time hiring qualified personnel, whether full or part-time. The Miller Media Group wants to help you, the employer, to find the candidates you're looking for. That's why we've created IllinoisJobPost.com. That's IllinoisJobPost.com. This website is part of a broad radio and internet employment campaign available through the Miller Media Group. Contact your account manager or email sales@randyradio.com for more information. IllinoisJobPost.com is where we put the power of radio and the internet to attract prospective candidates.
Your friend in Central Illinois. WHOW.
Once again, a good morning. Thanks for being with us. I'm your host today, Seth Lawrence, and Rennie Cluver is the Executive Director of the Clinton YMCA in studio with us this morning. Rennie, let's talk Apple and Pork Festival. Comes up this weekend. How about Apple and Pork?
Well, I'm super excited just because of the forecast. You know, if I had to do it perfectly, it would be a little bit cooler just to give you that crisp fall feeling, but I'm not going to complain.
Last year was perfect.
Yes, it was really nice. And this year it's going to be great. You know, we're going to sell a lot of pork cutlets at the Y booth. So come on by. And I mean, we'll spend all week here getting prepared for that, and excited to engage in the community and be able to just talk to several people and see people that maybe only see once a year that come to this festival. And we know how big of an impact it has on Clinton and other businesses. And so we are excited. It's a lot of work, but you can't fundraise for 2 days like you can apple and pork and come up with what we can.
Yeah, no doubt. What does each day of this week look like for you getting ready for apple and pork? What are you doing today? What are you doing tomorrow, Wednesday, Thursday, and then on into Friday, Saturday?
Good. So today, and not necessarily have to do it today, but I will prepare what startup cash that we need so I can get that to the bank so that we can make sure that we have enough startup cash. If you think about a 2-day fundraiser, I mean, we need quite a bit of cash to get started. A lot of ones, a lot of fives. And so that's part of that. And then I will work with Pat, our maintenance director, on getting our grill grates cleaned up and get ready. I've already put in all the orders to the grocery stores here in town of what I need. So those things will be picked up probably Wednesday and Thursday. The buns will be delivered to the Y this week, and we store them in our community room. 3,000 buns. So 3,000 pork cutlets in 2 days is.
You going to sell all those?
I think we will.
Yeah. Now, do you go till you're sold out, and then once you're sold out, it's like, hey, we can't sell anymore? Or do you go get more things?
Now, it just depends. The hardest thing is getting more buns. And so it's either you try to anticipate, are we going to sell 3,200 pork cutlets? I mean, it gets to the point where is it worth going and getting some more cutlets and some more buns to sell 150 more pork cutlets? I mean, as far as the profit goes, if we sell 3,000, it's going to be a great weekend. And we'll just have to play it by ear. I mean, if we sell out early on Sunday, I mean, if it's looking at noon, 1 o'clock, and we're like, we're going to be out of cutlets, then yeah, we want to stay open as long as we can. You get to that 3 o'clock time and you're like, hey, we've only got 50 more cutlets. Okay. Is it worth going to get 100 more cutlets when we may not? Because if we don't sell them, I can't take those back.
Right.
And so then we're end up packaging them in freezer bags and trying to sell them to members the next day. And it's more work.
Yep, it is. And, cost benefit and all those things. Now, you mentioned, you can't fundraise what you can do in 2 days at the Apple and Pork Festival. Talk about the benefit of Apple and Pork for the YMCA.
Yeah. So you could do the math out there. If we sold 3,000 pork cutlets at $6 a cutlet, and you could do that math. I mean, that's not all of our, we got to pay expenses out of that.
Right.
And we sell iced teas for $1, waters for $1. Last year we sold out of, I think we started with 12 cases. No, more than that. It was almost 20 cases of water. Went through those. So being a little bit warmer, you're going to sell more drinks. And so you think about, you start doing that math and you start taking out expenses. We very easily could make $10,000, $12,000 to $14,000 net profit in 2 days.
That's crazy. Take you several weeks to do that, selling, raffle tickets or, whatever other types of sales
and
you could do.
what's nice, Seth, is with Apple and Pork is it's not just Clinton, the community members. We're starting a campaign this month for Strong Kids where we need donors that have given to the Y every year. We need that, or we can't keep our doors open.
Right.
And so it's like Apple and Pork is another fundraiser that we're not just going to our community members where we're asking them to donate and to buy things throughout the year. This is for a lot of different people coming from different states and different communities around.
People come to Clinton from, say Bloomington, Decatur, Lincoln for your pork cut or your pork cutlets. So
I was just last week at a golf match in El Paso. I was walking with a dad and started talking about Clinton. I go, yep. And I started getting ready for Apple and Pork. They go, oh yes, we always come down for that.
Yeah.
El Paso's an hour away.
Yeah.
And there's people that come from a lot farther, but it was like that connection. And so they started asking me questions about, well, how many pork cutlets could you sell? Like, well, I've ordered 3,000. And they're just like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Well, yes, it is a big fundraiser. It's a big deal for a lot of organizations.
How fun is it to talk about that with people from other places,
It is. It's a neat conversation starter
Yeah.
that builds into a lot more about the why and our mission.
Definitely. Speaking of, do you do any promotion during Apple and Pork of the why, or is it really strictly fundraising?
It really is fundraising. You know, there's guidelines that the mansion puts out there too that we have to be careful on. We don't want to spend a lot of time talking about put a sign out that, hey, membership rates, if you go buy membership today, it's half off. You can't solicit that, or you can't do extra fundraising in addition to selling your pork cutlets.
Okay.
Like put out a bucket for donations for Strong Kids. We couldn't do that.
Can't do that. Okay.
So we just pretty much say, look, it's pork cutlets. It's a great sandwich. Come and get it. And I love it because I'll see line. I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't believe people stand in line for this. But the line just gets bigger and bigger. It attracts people. The bigger the line, the better it is for us.
Yeah, no doubt. Do you do anything with the money, like earmark it for anything specific on a year-to-year basis?
Depends. Right now, we don't have a specific need. It's going to fill numerous holes that we have. That just, we just anticipate that, hey, this will bring in revenue. This is going to help us get through these next couple of months in some expense areas. And then it will carry us over into the revenue that we'll get from donations and Strong Kids.
Yeah, let's jump into Strong Kids. That's underway. We've got a few minutes here. Tell us about Strong Kids this year.
Strong Kids, we've got a board meeting starts Wednesday this week that our campaigners, our board members are going out campaigning. Some of them have already started, but it is our biggest fundraiser because like I said earlier, it's what keeps our doors open. And just throwing out numbers there, we gave out over 125,000 in scholarships last year, from memberships to kids swim lessons to camp and you name it. That's what we are. That's our non-for-profit status. That's what allows us to be a non-for-profit, a Christian organization. And that's what we love to do. It's just not the best business model, right? You could give up 50% on memberships, to people. We know they need that and we want them to have that, but it's just not a great business model.
Yeah. It's a community service, but you got to bring in the money to maintain it. So,
and we don't get tax dollars. And so this campaign is what the why really is all about. The community knows this. We've been here for over 100 years. And they see the value in giving to the why.
About a minute here, Rennie. Am I remembering right? A little movement on potential donating online this year?
Yes.
How about that?
We're going to work with the board to be able to send out kind of a goal thermometer of, hey, I'm a board member. This is my why story. This is why I'm passionate about the why and giving. Please help me give to this organization that I'm passionate about.
Sure.
And they could have a goal. Let's say a board member's goal is to raise $5,000. They can send that out via Twitter, Facebook, email. They can text it out to all their contacts. And the thing is it could be someone, it could be an uncle or so that lives 4 or 5 hours away. But if they see what you're passionate about, they may give you $10, $15, $20. And those generate future donors. And that's what we're really trying to concentrate on this year.
So come check out the Y at the Apple and Pork Festival this weekend. How do folks learn more about Strong Kids, Rennie?
I would go visit our website, click on Donate Now. You can read about it or just read about the Strong Kids campaign. It's there. A lot of information.
Rennie Cluver, Executive Director of the YMCA Network, News is now.
The Big 1520 WHOW Clinton, 92.3 FM, W2.